Welcome everybody to our 8th VTV, the 25th. Real quickly, before I introduce our guest for today, we have the questions and answers button down the bottom. So make sure you put in any questions down there. We'll try and answer them at the end. And do use the chat function as well. As always, we like to know where you're coming from. So just chuck in down there who you are, what part of the country you're tuning in from. But today we have Tania Walters and Sarah Mitchell from the Hotel Magazine. Welcome to VTV.
Hello, thanks for having us.
No worries at all, our pleasure. So just introduce yourself and tell us what perspective you're bringing to our webinar today.
Well, we obviously own and run Hotel Magazine. It's a family-based publishing company, 96 years old. Not that we've been in the hotel or reporting on the hotel industry for that long. We've been in the hotel sector side of things for about 6 or 7 years now.
Yeah.
But we've always been in the food and beverage side of the business. Our perspective on what's happening now, it's a difficult time, and it's challenging not only for hoteliers and moteliers, but it's also for us.
Yeah.
So we publish a bi-monthly magazine. More than welcome to take any questions or information that anyone needs. But ideally, yes, we're really a hotel magazine that talks B2B.
Yeah, brilliant. And from your perspective, Sarah?
Yeah, well, our magazine is specifically for businesses in the accommodation industry and sector.
Yep.
We like to connect suppliers with accommodation providers and accommodation providers with suppliers that can help them do better business.
That's cool.
Us in a nutshell.
It's trying to make sure that there's a community. So I always think that a sense of community is vital within an industry and within, outside of that as far as the actual guests are concerned.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to make sure that there's a voice, that people have a place and a resource. So we don't, a lot of people think they can only buy an ad off us and that everything's about charging. And it's not. It's about give us a call and ask us if you need something or if you want to be connected with somebody else. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we have an extensive network of hoteliers and moteliers as well as suppliers. So if you need something, it's really just a case of, it's a connection point. That's all we are. We're a conduit to doing business.
Yeah, cool. Great. So that's the reason why we got Tania and Sarah on today was they bring probably a marketing perspective, or definitely a marketing perspective to VTV. It's probably something that we haven't had in previous sessions, was a real focus on marketing. So we're going to cover off some questions today around sort of how things, well, we all sort of know how things were, how things are going to look, and how we can best react from a marketing perspective to the new environment we find ourselves in. So from first question, from an accommodation provider, what would you say about what they should be doing today in view of the new normal, if you like?
I think we have to accept that it's not so much just a new normal, the complete recalibration of your business. You have to reassess your assets. That's both your team, your fixed assets, where your money is going to be coming from, what the market is looking like. It's a complete recalibration. It's not a stopgap until it goes back to how it was, because how it was may not come back for many, many years, and it might not come back in that format at all. So it's a recalibration of your business. Take stock. Who are the team members that you have? Because that's the people are the most vital element. But also looking beyond your business to the businesses in your community. And I think collaborations, I think for accommodation providers at the moment, we have to give the New Zealand community a reason to move around the country. And it's not just moving to the more well-known places.
Sure.
We have to be looking at, as I mentioned to you before, places like Raglan, Waikato. Where are people going to go, and how do we get them there? Because if someone was a foreign tourist coming here and they would go into Queenstown, they have a look at Christchurch, they might come to Auckland or they might fly out. We actually need New Zealanders to explore New Zealand, but not just the places that they're familiar with, not just the hole in the rock at the Bay of Islands, not just Queenstown. We need them moving through the country. And I think the key to that is a collaboration. It might be you join up with wineries and you provide your guests with that as an experience. I think fundamentally the guest experience has to be broader than just the hotel. And I don't think that price should be something that is the governing factor. I think adding value makes a successful business.
Yeah.
Cutting price will just drag out the agony, but it doesn't solve the problem. We've been putting in the magazine, we've been featuring a lot of artists, local artists.
Sure.
And so making sure that you've got local art on your walls. Maybe there is a glassblower in your area that your guests can go and visit. Making those guest experiences that are a little bit different. There might be a food manufacturer who makes straws, pasta, whatever. You might be able to organise with them that they could have dinner using the ingredients or talking to the person who actually makes that pasta or that chutney or that wine.
Mm-hmm.
So making those guest experiences and making your point of difference. Perhaps if you're an independent, joining up with some other independents to make the trail of going from one city to another or one place to another as a journey. If someone took a week's holiday, where are they going to go?
Yeah.
I think it goes far beyond, just I need to clean more, and I need to sanitize more, and I need to enforce physical distancing and all this other thing. It can be as, looking sort of inwardly and around your own town, region, and being aware of sort of who else is in business around you instead of just
feeling
isolated like you're alone in this, because I guarantee everybody in New Zealand in business is feeling the same. How do I get customers? How do I get more customers? How do I recover from this? And sometimes working with other people, bouncing ideas and things like that can really help, and it's sort of like motivating and inspiring to that you can get through this, and as a country we can get through this together.
It's interesting because anyone who's been on this call, on this webinar since the start, a lot of just about every guest that we've had has spoken about the need to partnering up with other people, creating that broader experience. And then I was just thinking back also, like Airbnb going back a little while was the greatest disruptor in this industry. Well, this is a disruptor on size 10, from Airbnb. What you say?
For us, Airbnb, the way that Airbnb would recover is different, because that has a far more sanitation side and trust. That to us, I think if we can just eliminate from this discussion as saying that we're talking about Airbnb.
Sure.
The Airbnb is
like a different
it's almost like a different different piece. And I think just to clarify, we are talking about hoteliers, moteliers, holiday parks, bed and breakfast. We're not talking about Airbnb.
It is quite a different thing, and we've covered some parts of that on previous sessions too. It's quite as you say, totally agree.
To me, Airbnb's problem is primarily sanitation and trust, more than anything else. So for the rest of the industry, for the main part of the accommodation sector, it is really about collaboration. It's also it's about sanitation and trust as well, but you can't just say my hotel is clean or my motel is clean. You have to be seen to be clean. You have to be seen to be having practices there that guests can see somebody cleaning. So it's not enough to say I've deep cleaned the place. Guests have to really be seeing that is the case.
You're proactive. Sorry.
So I'm not reducing the value of that, but primarily what we're talking about is beyond sanitation.
So jumping back to the experiences in that, what would you say to someone who has typically been, their main guest has been a corporate stay, and all of a sudden they find themselves cast into a light where their corporate customers have reduced, and then we're talking about, you know, partnering up and finding that more experience. For some people, that would be a feeling that's totally well outside of day-to-day business. So what do you say to those type of people?
I think if we divide them into two, so if we look at the provider for the corporate customer in the past, that corporate customer, there are still corporate customers within business in New Zealand. So you need to be talking to business. So that's where your marketing comes in. If you are marketing to businesses, you need to be in business magazines. You need to be talking to businesses. You need to be able to provide workshops. You need to be able to look at what they are actually searching for and look and find that. If they want conference rooms, if they want to be able to take out the entire place. A lot of conferences will not go offshore for a very long time. So it does open it up in New Zealand. It really does.
Sorts of places. But I think leveraging sort of more towards the loyalty side of things can be a key role in recovery for hotels. And I think motels. Defining
what market you're going to go after. I mean, they'll probably do both because they won't be certain where their market's going to come from at the moment. But there is still going to be a corporate customer. It's just going to be a New Zealand corporate customer. And businesses in New Zealand also want to help. You know, I've had so many people reach out to us. Businesses want to help. And I say, but you need to ask. That's the one thing that I found difficult, is actually lowering my pride enough to say, I actually need help. And so contacting businesses and saying, so if you did the Fonterra, for example, and you said, this is our hotel chain, or this is our independence, we'd be interested in hosting your company. When are you thinking of having a workshop or bringing your people together? At the moment, no one wants to bring their people together because everyone's frightened of, you know, what that means. But that will pass, and team
building will be a thing again. And
it will be a thing again. We don't operate very well in isolation, and certainly creative businesses don't operate well in isolation. Creative teams have to be together. It's the one thing we found the most difficult working from home was the lack of the ability to to be able to turn to someone and say, hey, what do you think? Without a Zoom meeting and scheduling something. So I think certain industries work well. IT is probably one of them that work well remotely. But creative, no, they don't.
And hospitality.
Hospitality don't. Hospitality by its very name means to share. So I think determining what your asset is, what your offering is going to be, and what those offerings can be. And they might not fit into one square box. You might have a circle over here, a box over there, and a triangle. It might be that there are 3 things that you can bring, that you can provide for corporate guests and workshops, that you could provide for a collaboration with a winery, for example, or a sculpture trail, or something along those lines that you can draw guests in. It might be a murder mystery. You might suddenly become the place where people come to share, because that's the one thing that we are all feeling a little lax of, which is why everyone wanted to get out to a bar or a restaurant, because you wanted company. We don't, humans don't operate in isolation.
No, we don't do it all that well.
No, we don't.
We are quite social creatures.
We just don't. You know?
So that was, so you were speaking to that corporate, you know, the people who have had that corporate customer. And I think, you know, at this point in time, it may be distinctly uncomfortable for someone who mainly had that corporate kind of customer to do some of these things that you were suggesting. But we can't fail, right? Like, you know, if you're going into uncharted, you can
only try. And I think we have to step out of our skin and try things. I think there's a calculated risk, and I think that's where you talk to someone like us or a marketing company that you use. You need to bounce these ideas around, what you're comfortable with, what your team is comfortable with, because, you know, you can't just have the MD or the general manager and the team behind them is not on board with it. Everybody in that team has to say, this is what my friends would like to do. Because we all know somebody else. It's 2 degrees of separation, really. And utilize those contacts, use those collaborations. You might belong to the local chamber. You might belong to a business association. You might belong to a tennis club, an archery, whatever. What can you bring utilizing the contacts that you have? Most people don't understand that they actually have a huge wealth of networking. They look at it as, this is my after hours networking people, and these are my business networking people.
Yeah.
The fact is now those lines are completely blurred.
Yeah.
And we're just utilizing everybody we know and asking, talking about it. There's a big fear when you're in business to actually go, you know what, I'm going to put my hand up and say, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to deal with this.
These collaborations also aren't just for guests, they can be for people that live in the region, and you can attract locals to an event that you're hosting, or to support you in that way. You don't always have to think, I've got an out of town guest. It can be, who is my, can I be a local place for our locals, to go to, sort of like Tuesday night trivia type thing, that old school, I go to the pub on Tuesdays for trivia. Could be, I go to
the local hotel, they put a dinner on.
Yeah, there's entertainment or whatever. And
you might have a local jazz singer.
Yeah.
You could have anything.
You're really bringing the community together as well as welcoming in other communities, I guess. People from around New Zealand.
And I also think that will actually, when we do open the border enough that we have international guests, they love those experiences.
Yeah.
They love being, so the chef comes out and shows them how to make dumplings, or that there is that. I remember probably 30 years ago going to the chateau, and the chef came out and we were snowed in, and they showed us how to make crepe Suzette. And I have never forgotten how to make crepe Suzette from there. But we were trapped in a hotel and they didn't know what to do with us. It was basically no skiing. And what do you do with all these people? We had a medieval night. It was fun. It was a huge amount of fun. And I have very fond memories of that.
And you say that's 30 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, so man, that's obviously stuck in your memory, right? And that was a
very much so.
It was Airbnb experience that you did.
Yeah, I've done Airbnb experiences as well, where you've gone off and visited a home. Well, this hotel, the motel, the holiday park, they are someone's home for that duration. What you're trying to make them see is you don't just have to come to Rotorua to see the bubbling mud that you may have seen when you were a kid, and maybe a couple of trips after that. What else is there? Why would I come? I don't want to do the necessarily tourist things because I think, oh, well, I've done that. So what else can I do? Well, I can come down, I can take the kids that have never seen the bubbling mud because I took them to Australia instead. I can show them that. But for me, I can learn this. I can learn a new skill. I can look at artworks. I can see the local artisanal people. So I think, obviously for us, the companies that we've been helping have been ones where we have been looking for their long term as a plan. Take the asset, what they have now, upskill their people as well. Yeah. This is a great opportunity to upskill, and the people that have stepped out of the crowd and become and done, like we've got it in here, where people who were hired to do one job have suddenly found themselves doing something else entirely. Yeah. And it's the same within the accommodation sector. Many years ago, we did a promotion where we were actually working with a company and they had, 20,000 odd staff. What do you do with that many people if you decide to do something that's a team building that can pull them all together? And we did a stars in your eyes. And honestly, I thought it was going to be a disaster. I thought, oh no, people who can't sing, it's going to be horrific. Yeah. It was the most fun, and it just brought the entire company together. They They realised that there were people with talent within their environment, and they wanted to keep it going year after year. So, sometimes out of this kind of disaster, you actually get the little gold nuggets that make your business charming. And
so I like what you say there about, because we may have a hidden talent or a hidden connection within our own team, like as in for a motel, your cleaning staff may know someone or know a certain skill or something. So, and I like what you were saying earlier about putting your hand up for help. I think as business people, we don't like doing it, but we've talked to so many moteliers, hoteliers, accommodation providers, and then we cross over into the aged care industry as well. So aged care at the moment there's no downturn in aged care, right? Like everybody's still just as old as
they're a guest that they cannot leave. We also have an aged care magazine, obviously. But I was getting old, and the kids thought, you know what, we really need to get into that sector so that we learn about it.
But one thing I'm finding is talking to all these people is everybody is a lot more comfortable talking to other people about the challenges we're having. So if anyone that's listening today is having that sort of that they call it FOGO, like the fear of going out or fear of reaching out, it should actually be more of the FOMO, the fear of missing out, because other people are reaching out. So
I think reaching out to someone else. I mean, I went through obviously a few recessions. The last one, it took me 10 years to get out of, and I had just sort of got out of it at the end of last year and thought, I've done it. I had like one good month, and then 95% of our business on the 26th of March stopped completely. Just completely. Everyone cancelled their ads, everyone stopped. And I had the decision then to, do I keep my team or do I let half of them go and keep half of them back? What do I do? I had like 3 days to make that decision. And I think a lot of companies were in that position. You had staff that may have not joined you long ago. Do you keep the team? How long is this going to go on for? I could make the wrong decision right now. Now, I decided to keep the team. Now, that comes with it a rather large financial burden.
It does.
Now, I make no secret of the fact that I took the wage subsidy. What is interesting that I put my people on 80% pay 80% of the time. So 80% time hours. So they had a 20% reduction in hours and a 20% reduction in pay. I emailed them the other day because I actually wasn't well and wasn't at work, and I didn't have anything like a cold. But, and I emailed them to say, how are you feeling now that we've had this? Do you feel that I'm being fair? And I have been overwhelmed by the response from people, absolutely overwhelmed. And it was like, do you need us to take more of a cut? We can do one less day. What do you think we should be doing? Because we're here, we've got our hand up, and we're here to help. And I hadn't really thought that our team was like that. I mean, I thought some of them were because they're related. But the other, I thought, do I really have these people on board? And yes, I do have these people on board. And then they started coming out with, well, I can do this. I could add to this.
So I think even asking your own team, I think it's a good time to sort of, reflect and
because as the boss, you try and say, okay, we're going to get through this. But quite frankly, I am the swan. I was sitting quite calm looking on the surface, but my feet were going hell for leather under me. And when I reached out to other business owners and said, hey, we need help, I have actually been astounded by companies who've said, look, this is what we would normally spend with you in a year. We'll give it to you right now. Now, we're a 96-year-old business. You always don't want to be the one family member that ruins it. So, I think
for me, by the way,
for me to ask for help was huge. For me to actually say, and one of my staff said to me, who's been with me for about 25 years, said to me, it's not begging. And I said, well, I feel as if I'm begging.
I think it's important to note that you're not, you're just sort of...
You have to just be honest and say, without your support, we can't keep doing this. And I think that inside a community where a hotel or motels are based, or a holiday parks are based, you need to look around you and say to the rest of the community, I do need your support. I do need you to come on Fridays and eat in our restaurant. I do need you to perhaps spend your next child's birthday in our establishment. I do need the community's help. The interesting one for me was a local greengrocer. I have always ignored him. I just get my groceries at the supermarket and just really did ignore him. During lockdown, he went out of his way to stay open late, to make sure that he had all the extra things that you couldn't get. He started selling bread. Now, it was good for his business. I don't detract from that. But he made such a community of his store. A lot of our community now have said to support him, to keep going, we will now buy from him. We will make a special trip because he actually made us aware of what he needed.
What he needed, yeah. Yeah. So now that's a brilliant point, and I think it's a good takeaway from today. We're coming up to 27 minutes past 10.
Oh, sorry.
No,
I told you that we had the ability to
We'll see everyone tomorrow.
To actually ask for that assistance from other people around you, for anyone in this industry, that helps. I think Kiwis as well, and other communities within the country are so willing to help. It's sort of hardwired in, yeah.
As a final from us, if anyone does need help or someone to talk to,
we're here to help.
We're here. And there's no, you don't have to think, oh, I'm going to have to pay for this because we haven't, the charge is not
We're
there.
here for the community.
So we're here for our community, which is our different sectors that we work in. We've been here to help. I got an email yesterday from a client saying, I'm sorry, I don't have any budget, but can you help me? And
that's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's we can do that. We can help. So we are
you
there.
took the words from a
Somebody
mouth.
has money though. I do also need that. But if somebody just needs someone to talk to or to thrash out a plan, we didn't build this business on the basis of making money every day. We built the business on the basis of making money for tomorrow, and that is really what we're about.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, for the crowd listening today, I never realised when we reached out to Sarah and Tania, I never realised that they actually provided a consultant service. I found that out about 35 minutes ago. So to anyone on the
ourselves, we're just
like.
So for anyone on the call, they do actually provide a consulting service and are willing to help you market your facility, your accommodation. And so they'll have that discussion with you. So reach out to them. Where can they find your details?
On our website, or
which is
hotelmagazine.co.nz. We're not very good at pushing out what we do.
Yeah, no, that's great.
It is the typical
we promote other people, not ourselves.
Yeah.
That is a very typical Kiwi thing, though. It's not to actually put your hand up, but please.
Well, there goes Alberta. Alberta's just put it in the chat there. So
great.
And it'll be on our this video obviously goes live to our YouTube channel. So it'll be in the description there as well. But thank you, ladies. Really appreciate your time. Really appreciate your perspective.
Sorry we talked too much.
No, that's absolutely fine. That saves me,
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining. This time next week we'll be here again.
Thank you.
See you again.
Bye.
Bye.